Well, hello everyone, welcome. I'm Katie. This is a fountain pen awakening, and I hope that wherever you are in the world, you're doing super good. I got this delivery the other day, and I remember talking to you specifically in my last video that I was trying not to purchase inks. But I also did mention in my last video that I did get this Fanyantan ink, Fanyantan, I don't know how you pronounce it. It is a Chinese ink. And it was the early spring blossom cookies one, and I really liked it because it's kind of like a pink ink, but it writes really lovely. It's sort of, here it's a little bit darker, but it does sort of tend to dry a little bit lighter when you're writing, you know, like a whole page or long session writing. And I thought I would explore some other Fanyantan inks. In the meantime, I did get a bottle of the early spring blossom cookies. I did get some other inks. I got a little dot pen for my journal because I did have already this one. They're 3 colors, all kind of tucked into one, so to speak. So I thought I'd get these colors just because I needed some more dots to use on my journal in the tracking section. So I got that. I got some washi tape, and instead of sending me the usual Tim Tam, they sent me some Haribo Gold Bears, which was super fun because I used to get these when I was living in Italy. The Germans used to bring them down every summer, and I found that to be a really great treat because you couldn't find these back in the day when I was very young, but you could get them in Germany, and they used to bring them down as a treat. So it takes me back. As we can see here, I have done a little bit of swatching, and I find them lovely. And I think I might have just found a new favorite ink brand because I love the way these inks write. I love the way the ink performs. I love the chromo shading. So I kind of did this as a test. I have inked up a couple of pens already. So practically this is the pen that I've got my early spring blossom cookies in. Then I thought that the Segaya, I guess, would look good with this pen, my blue-green Lamy All-Star. Then this one here, which I'm always looking for a nice ink for, would be perfect with this. The Rosy Yellowy, I call this pen Firefly. Taro Bai was one of the inks from the Iroshizuku line that I got to go in here. So I thought I'd try that in there. And then this one, it was sort of a toss-up between this one and this one in my new pen. This, when I got it, looked a little bit like my Yuromeko ink, kind of like the way that I want my Yuromeko ink to look like on paper, but then when I've actually used it, it's more purpley rather than pinky, but it's really nice. And I've got it in my Just Turnings. Let me have a look for it. Here it is, in my Just Turnings Rainbow Abalone, which I did do the pairing with the Yuromeko, but I was in 2 minds because this could suit it, but also this could suit it. So either or. But this one's got an extra fine nib, so I'm finding it a little bit dry, whereas these other ones, this has got a 1.1, this has got a fine nib, and this has got a medium nib, the Twisby Eco Cream. That's what I've paired it with. I need to ink this one up, and I was thinking that I might try it in my Prera Ivory, just because it's neutral. Yeah, so just come on to say hello. I haven't been on in a minute. I did say I wasn't going to get new inks. Yet here we are. Excuse the noise. I'm finding this really nice to write with. And it's hard to find a pink ink that doesn't feel too dry when you write with it. And so far, this has been really good. And I got this little washi tape here, which is super cute. So I thought I'd sort of do some swatching on different paper because this one is the Tomoe River paper on the Hobonichi, the standard. It's really pretty. Standard paper. This is my notebook, the Hobonichi notebook. This is the Tomoe River paper. So I thought we could do my little swatches on these little swatching cards, and also do tests on the rhodia paper as well, because I always like to see the difference. Realistically, these are the only papers I use anyway. My go-to are the Hobonichi notebooks with the Tomoe River paper. My go-tos are the Warringal swatch cards. My go-to is rhodia paper. This one here I got for fun. It's ink swatch paper, and it is Tagasako paper. And it's kind of like a really lightweight, so it's like 87.9 GMS. And it's from Dominant Industry. So I thought it was cute, and I thought I'd give it a go. We'll grab a few of these, and we'll get to swatching. I've got some of these. I hope I've got enough. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ooh. Might have to use some faces, little Cheshire cat grins. Okay, so I've got those. Get my Haribo out the way. Get these out the way. I mean, get this out the way, I guess. But they're very pretty, aren't they? These I swatched the other day. And then I also have done writing samples with them in my notebook. So gorgeous. So we can see it's more bluey purple than the grey that is Yuramekoseki, which I don't mind, because ideally that's what I would like my Yuramekoseki to look like when I write with it. It does look grey, but you can see more blues and purples coming through, whereas with the Yuramekoseki it's just grey on most papers. So that's really nice. So that was a good combo. And then see what I mean with the early spring blossom cookies? As you write with it, it sort of tends to get a bit lighter. It's really lovely, and I'm enjoying it really very much in this pen here. I was going to swap it out and put it in a different pen, but then I actually did a refill, and so I'm enjoying that. And look at this beautiful color here. So that looks really nice in my Lamy All-Star Green Blue. Now also it does remind me of the Troublemaker ink. There are a couple that they've done. It's kind of like sea glass. Have I got, let me just check. Bear with. Yes, petrichor I think I was thinking of. But the petrichor is a little bit darker. And I don't have a sample here of sea glass, do I? I think sea glass was kind of similar to this color. Yeah, so petrichor, it's got that sort of chromo shading in there, but this comes across as a little bit more grey in the writing. And that's the Sailor Yuramekoseki that on this paper you can see the purples and stuff. But here it's much more blue purple. All right, anyway, so you get the idea, you get what I'm saying. So some of the Troublemaker inks do have similar chromo shadings. There is also sea kelp or kelp tea, I can't remember, kelp tea maybe, but I think it's darker than this. All right, so that was just to show you some writing samples. I'm really loving this ink. It writes so well. I love the way it dries. I do like my inks to shade. It gives it a bit of interest. I think the only one doesn't look like it has a lot of shading in there, which is that one. But it's very similar to the kind of ink that I was looking for, like Sydney Darling Harbour, you know, that sort of, this has got more blue in it, given. There was kind of that sagey green that I was after. All right, enough waffling. Let's do some swatching. So this is why I've got this out, so I don't get things dirty. Now at the moment I've just got my little trusty tools. I've been enjoying this little muddler. I just got it from a kitchenware place. You can do it both ways. That got my paintbrush, my little pipettes, I've got my little ink holder, and this is my clear stamp that I use, clear stamp holder. All right, and that's the one I wanted to put in there. All right. So Journey's Fatigue is the one I haven't inked up yet. So let's do that one first. Looks very green on here. That looks weird on this paper. Why does that look weird on this paper? Might have to do that again because that doesn't look right. Maybe they've been exposed to humidity, these. Let me just try it on this one. It just looks like the paper's absorbed it too much. Ah, that's better. Okay. That looks a little bit more turned out. That kind of looks... Alright, so now I've inked it up. It's still doing weird bits. And then here we've got, this is Rhodia paper. So this is the calligraphy medium. Looks kind of brown. A lot more browner. It writes really well. Don't know. This paper doesn't like it. This paper doesn't like it. And I don't really like the way that looks. So what I'm going to do is do my coffee stains. I mean, it looks so much more interesting than that, right? Yeah, that's much better. It's already a paper. Cool. Like that. Pink is so pretty. I feel that the Warringal paper, this cardstock, is not really liked by this ink. Kind of goes a bit funny. It goes like a little bit blotchy and stuff in it, which is bizarre. You know what I mean? Like it does this blotchy thing, whereas the other papers don't do that. I don't know what's going on. Yeah, I don't know. This is just so interesting, isn't it, with fountain pens? How each paper, it's all its own journey. I mean, I guess between the Tomorrow of the paper, because with the new Senzen, the new Tomorrow of the paper is not the same as the original. People are still going on a journey with that. I think I got a notebook from Gala Leather, one of their ones that they kind of make in-house with the Tomorrow River paper, and I got it as my swatching book, but unfortunately it must have the new dud paper because I know they've tried to upgrade it and make it better since their first year when they came out with it. Yeah, it doesn't, like the inks don't look good on it. It ghosts, it feathers, and all this sort of stuff. So that's okay. I can use it for something else. But it's a bit of a shame. You know what I mean? Like, you know, you buy things and then they turn out to not be what you want them to be. And that's the journey, obviously, with this new Tomorrow River paper. Japanese will perfect it. I feel they are the perfectionists of their crafts. So I think I'll give them a couple of more years and they'll have that paper perfected and be as good as the original. Well, that's my take because I follow a lot of content creators that are in Japan, and I find that Japanese craftsmanship is second to none. And this is why I kind of stick to the Tomoe River paper. I find that for me at least, it's the best paper to write on when it works. And just for the properties of the inks too, coming full circle to what I was trying to express is that each paper, if different paper type, is a different writing experience. And some papers love some inks, and other papers don't love other inks, and then one ink writes well on some papers and it, you know, anyway, that was the thought I was trying to conclude. Alrighty, so let's just write on here what it is. This has just got the longest name, but it's so pretty. Alright, so oh no, it's the wrong pen. Oh my goodness. Whoopsies. And this is early spring. And this is in Eco Cream. And I just want to show you the bottle. It is a 30 ml bottle, but it doesn't have the name on it at all in English. It's totally in Chinese, unless that's it there, but I can't read it. Yeah, they're good value. I think it was like 22, 23 Australian dollars, something like that. I want to write the name here, so I'm just going to wait for that to dry a little bit more. It's Early Spring Cherry Blossom Cookies. Got to put the cherry in there. Cherry Blossom. It's just hard to explain. It goes down more reddish and then it sort of dries to a paler pink, if that makes sense. Because we can see there's kind of like a darker red or darker pink in there. And then it just sort of dries really nicely to this light pinky colour, which reminds me of the colours of pink macaroons. Let's do the plums, the Dafu plums. Interesting. This is kind of like a more of a highlighter green colour on this paper. Wow. Look how different those look. That's like super lime green, that one. Wow, that is totally different from that. This kind of color also reminds me a little bit of Robert Oster's Avocado. When I first initially got it, I got a bottle of it, and it was this kind of like murky greeny color, and then it turned in literally to this kind of green like that. Isn't that interesting? Totally cool. All right, let me just get rid of these. These are dry. Nice chromo shading. All right, next let's do the Sagaya. Let's have a little mini bear. Sorry about the noise. Nums. Oh, I went and ruined that one. Too much off the page. I'd offer you one, guys, but you're not here. Hope everyone's doing well. It's a bit tough out there in the world. A bit scary with everything that's going on. I've had a bit of a month and a half or so with looking for the second job, but none of them kind of worked out. So now I have resigned from the latest job that I got, and I've discovered that shoes are just not for me. I'm in retail, I can sell anything, everything, but shoes is not my jam. So now I've only got my original job, which is only a few hours a week, and so it is a bit scary, but I'm sure I will find something soon. I'm just going to take this week off to relax, recuperate, you know what I mean? Look after myself, have a little bit of a holiday, a break, because I've been working hard and I deserve it. Yes, I do. Does that mean? Again, this paper doesn't like greens. It does weird things to them. It does not like greens. Right? Look at that. It seems to pick up the really lighter shade of green. How interesting. All right, let's do yearning for immortality. Let me take those out and I was thinking of going and living in Bali. So apparently you can get a visa for retiring. Obviously you need to show that you have money. Then you can actually retire there from the age of 55. You can actually get a visa. Because I was thinking, what could I do? Could I get like a nomad kind of visa, you know, like working online kind of situation? But you can't get one unless you're employed by someone else. You can't be self-employed. So you can't be a YouTuber, so to speak. You have to work for a company. So you can't do that. I mean, even though as a YouTuber, I don't make any money whatsoever. So that's kind of out of question for now. But I was thinking, wouldn't that be cool to retire there? Because over there it is really cheap. So much cheaper to live and to rent places, and your money goes a lot further than it does anywhere else, I think, in the world. The only thing is that you can't actually buy property. So you can have like a leasehold, I think it is, where you pay a certain amount of money and you have the land and the house, or you can have the land and build a house on it, and you can have it for like 30 years. You can then renew that with the owner of the land, but you're fronting up all the expenses, right? So if you want to build on the land, you're practically paying to rent that land for 30 years, and then any construction or anything that you do to it, it's all your own money. Like, it's not actually yours. You have to give it back at the end. So I don't know if that's worthwhile realistically. You can sell it, you can sublet it, you can do all the things. So if one had money, one could invest a piece of land building on it, and then you could use it to rent out. You could do an Airbnb. You could do a spiritual retreat in Bali. That's what I'd like to do. It's not cheap, and then at the end of it, you don't really have anything that's yours. You can do long-term rents, like you could actually rent a home for a year or so. That might be something worth looking at, because renting a home there for a year or a month, you know, long-term stay, you're not staying in touristy accommodation, you're actually renting a home, is much cheaper than, you know, renting a house here and living life here. You just have to have some income, and the income can't be generated from Indonesian people themselves. As a foreigner, you need to have capital, or you need to have a source of revenue and earnings from outside Indonesia. So you'd be like if you were earning from tourists, or if your Airbnb was rented out to, you know, people from outside, from that'd be okay, I guess. But anyway, that's what I was considering. I mean, not that I don't live in paradise already here. However, everything is just so expensive and people are crazy. So it would be something to figure out for me, how to make some money, how to earn an income online, or work for a business who wants you to be in Bali, so to speak. Wow, look at that. It really highlights the greens, doesn't it? Just so bizarre to me. So that's got a cursive, smooth, italic, extra fine. This pen. Wow, I can't believe how different that is. All right, so last but not least is the one that I don't have inked up. Here they are. I thought I couldn't have run out that way. Last and not least is 90,000 miles. It actually reminds me of my Hisoko from Kyoto. That kind of blue. It's got more of a blue than a green. Okay, I'll have to use my Ira Utsushi dip pen. This is very interesting, this, because we have a look. Oh, well, I guess it does. For some reason, it just looked more greeny than bluey, but now that I look at it, it looks more bluey than greeny. It's a blue-green. It's got a little bit of pink coming through. Wow. So 90,000 miles. But see how it just writes really smoothly straight away, even with your dip pen. Sometimes I find a lot of these inks don't write straight away. You've got to dip it a couple of times before they actually work. I like the ink. It's just really reliable, writes well. It's not too wet, it's not too dry. Oh, I can do a thingy test here. A thingy test. That's the professional way of saying it. Right. Let's allow those last ones to dry. Look at the difference. Can you believe that's the same ink? It seems to, this paper seems to bring out the greens in the inks. It really draws out the funky colors. Whereas, you know, with the pinks, it pretty much stays true. That's how they actually look. these have been dry for a few days. As you can see, the lovely chroma shading coming through. Have you guys tried Fanyantan inks? Have you heard of them? Am I pronouncing it right? But how interesting is it that you get this variety of colors on different papers? So that was fun. I hope that you enjoyed it with me as well. Let me know in the comment sections below if you have tried their inks. And what I will do is I'll wait for this to dry, and then I'm going to come back to you with a written page in this color. Well, there you have it, my friends. It is quite light, this color here, 90,000 miles. It does remind me a little bit of Celadon Cat from Diamine, a little bit of, as I said before, Hizuku, I think it is. But it's a lot more legible, I find, than Celadon Cat. I found it very hard to write with when I had Celadon Cat. This is in my Tasia pen, and this has got an actual sailor nib. So this is one of the pens that Rebecca kindly gifted me. It's really a nice pen. It writes really well, and I thought that the color, which is kind of like an aqua green color, did match the ink. It is a little bit more on the dry side, this, I must say, but I do find that this kind of color ink does tend to be on the dry side, because my Hisoku too, that bluey sort of greeny color, does tend to be a little bit dry. Anywho, I think that's enough now. So I hope you enjoyed, and thanks for liking, for subscribing. Leave me a comment, interact with the channel, help me get this content out there into the world of the algorithm that is now YouTube. And until my next one, ta-da!